to you. Here we go.
Cheating is a universally despised thing in most games, but there's no escaping it no matter what you play. Call of Duty, Valorant, even Minecraft. But there's one game that has continued to have the worst cheating problem than any other game out there. And yes, it's Counter-Strike. Why is it like that? Well, the history of Counter-Strike goes way deeper than any other game out there. What history have we forgotten, and are we doomed to repeat it? In this video, I've taken my time to research the stories about CS hacking that no one else talks about. The forgotten history of Counter-Strike cheats, cheating accusations, the weirdest Counter-Strike hacks, and much more. But before I start talking about cheating, I just want to thank today's sponsor, SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a site I use quite often to trade and buy skins. It's an automated trading site that allows you to instantly trade or get. Where we are now, I gotta start from the beginning. The year is. That's it. Two college students named Min Lee and Jess Cliff decided to create a mod for a game called Half-Life. It's a pretty obscure game, which you might not have heard of. Half-Life revolutionized PC gaming at the time mainly because of the Gold Source engine. Min Lee and Jess Cliff capitalized on this engine by creating the first iteration of Counter-Strike. At the time though, hacking or cheating wasn't really too popular. See, nowadays everyone is sweating their asses off. Meanwhile, back in 1999, people were just trying to have fun. This type of game was also brand new, so people were less concerned about finding new ways to exploit the game, and instead focusing on how to actually strategize and master it. The most competition you really had back then was either heading to your friend's house to have a LAN party, or maybe playing in a LAN tournament. Although I wasn't even born back then, I think I'm getting the general idea of it. Yes. Most likely the only cheats in 1999 were just the console commands for the game, which of course you had to do SV_cheats14 and only admins could do that. These cheats only really included God mode and no clip. There was one notable exploit though at the time, which consisted of you changing your name to one of the following. Once you were killed, a long stream of words would show up instead of your name. Don't ask me why this happened because I don't really know. I'm sure there might have been some hacks back in 1999, but finding information regarding that is obviously pretty hard almost 24 years later. The first ever hacks for Counter-Strike came in the year. This was shortly after the official release of the game. This mainly consisted of trainers, which you might be familiar with if you've ever modded a game. Basically, it's just console cheats, but a little better. These will allow you to do things like have unlimited health, unlimited armor, unlimited ammo, one-hit kill, no reload, unlimited money, save position, load position, and restore position. I'm not too sure if these were able to be used in multiplayer, but assuming they were, I would count these as the first hacks. Now, the first ever real hacks that we all think about, like aimbot or wall hacks, would come in the year. The forum I checked for this dated all the way back to September 2001, but I saw some comments that said that there were hacks before this. I couldn't find anything myself, but I really wouldn't doubt it. Also, here in these forums are where I saw the first idea of HVH, or hacker versus hacker, which I'll get to a bit later. Although I sadly can't find any footage for these hacks, it was listed as aimbot and wall hacks in Counter-Strike version 1.3. So
I wonder how many people of you guys cheated before? Bro, 100% it's gonna be like for 5%. I'd assume around 5.
So you can just imagine it looks something like this.
In CSGO.
Assuming that in this
I may have as well or may not have like a Minecraft diamond X-ray. It is what it, hey, it's a texture pack.
2001 1.3 era Counter-Strike, hackers did exist. Obviously something needed to be done about it. People were complaining in forums and Valve needed to do something. Jump forward to the year. In April 2002, Valve released their first version of the Valve anti-cheat, VAC1. VAC1 was a big hope for the CS community at the time. Finally, it would deal with these new hackers and cheaters and distribute 1 to 5 year bans. The bans weren't permanent back then for some reason. VAC1 wasn't so great at launch. Cheaters and hackers were still running rampant, even utilizing old cheats. VAC1 was then updated a bit and then it started working, swiftly banning cheaters and displaying them on a global cheater list. A major step backwards in this version of
global cheater list. Bro, that list would now be, oh god, millions of fucking entries, no? Or hundreds of thousands.
VAC though was when a huge wave.
There still is, a lot of people don't know that. China's CSGO version is very, very open. They have some very, very interesting things that you can't look into in the CSGO, in our CSGO version. You can see anything that's unboxed, any knives that drop, like you see this guy open this and that momentarily when it's happening, and when people are getting VAC banned and game banned, it shows like a slide. If any of my mods could link it, it would be nice, so I can show it. It's super interesting.
wave of false bans happened allegedly due to faulty RAM sticks. See, VAC back then actually worked by reading directly to your memory to find the cheats, so whatever faulty RAM sticks that were being used must have set them off somehow. This was 2002, so of course something like this had to happen. Valve unbanned a bunch of players to hopefully unban these falsely banned accounts. In doing so, they also reset the global list of these banned accounts to avoid witch hunts to the other cheaters. VAC 1 definitely worked at the time, but it didn't last long. Because VAC 1 was only able to read players' RAM or memory, it didn't take long for hackers to find a way to avoid this system. Because hackers could avoid this, Valve created a VAC wall hack block, which basically constantly checked whether or not it's possible to see enemies from a player's point of view and then render them or not. I'm sure you can also assume what happened after this. Hacks kept getting better as they always do, and the amount of hackers also grew. New hacks also found a way to avoid this detection of the VAC 1 system. The first person to actually publicly bypass VAC 1 was someone by the name of Jules. Information is a bit scarce on them, but an interview with Jules says they created a hack called CS Guard. Here's a few screenshots I could find of the hacks in action.
Holy. I wonder how old Jules was.
Hacks in action. Jules then went on to be what the cool kids call a white hat hacker, and he actually ended up creating anti-cheats. Hacks at the time of Counter-Strike 1.0 to 1.6 were very basic though. They never did anything too crazy and were mainly just wall hacks and aimbot. Now onto the next Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike Source. The first appearance.
Have you cheated in the game? 57%. Okay, it depends on what we view as cheating now. Like I had what, Minecraft texture pack, like diamonds, but like is that cheating? Probably, or but I didn't have like a cheat client or something. Other than that, I don't think I ever cheated.
To the brand new engine Valve was
Oh my god. Okay, bro. But I was super young. Listen, hear me out. And I was playing it all with friends. Do you know the game Bomber Penguin? Let me show a picture. Oh god, I just remembered. The fuck? Bomber Penguin. Bro, must have been like 10 or something. This game right here, bro. And I remember there was a way to gain like more speed. Like, you were like twice as fast. You already know. Oh, crap.
Working on was actually on Counter-Strike Source instead of
Jesus. I don't know why I did that.
Half-Life 2, surprisingly. This engine was, of course, called the Source engine. At launch, there weren't a lot of hacks for Counter-Strike Source. Most of the hackers were still chilling on Counter-Strike 1.6. See, Counter-Strike Source wasn't exactly popular at launch to begin with, or ever lived up to 1.6. Most players stuck to 1.6, and the hacks or hackers just kept getting worse and worse. Even though CSS was not as popular as 1.6, that didn't stop hackers from creating hacks as soon as possible. February 2005, shortly after the release date of Counter-Strike Source, Valve had to release an updated version of their anti-cheat system, VAC 2. This was supposed to be a better version and meant to stop hackers running rampant in CSS as well as CS 1.6, but VAC 2 was effectively defeated soon after release. It seemed no matter what Valve did, hackers would always find a way to prevail. This is an all too common pattern within Counter-Strike or gaming in general. No matter what really happens, there's no stopping hackers. A quick sidetrack to the types of hacks being developed during this year. A lot of these hacks were created for CS 1.6, and one I found cool was a LAN hack. If you wanted to seem cool at a LAN party or a LAN tournament, what these hacks would do is actually have sound cues instead of visual cues, so people next to you obviously wouldn't know. This would be things like announcing how many enemies are in your immediate vicinity, or if that wasn't enough, you could have a type of soft aim that just tracks players' movement and seems somewhat legit, although you can still get caught with these. I found this gem of a video of someone getting kicked out of a LAN party for cheating. The video definitely isn't real because you can literally hear this guy say wait for the camera. But still a product of the time.
It could have just been because they wanted to record it, or no, of the cheater getting fucked.
Throughout the years leading up to the release of CSGO, hackers kept hacking, of course, and I'm sure you can sense the pattern here, so I'll move on to something new. The eagerly anticipated new Counter-Strike game was finally released, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. CSGO was a real turning point for Counter-Strike as a whole. Not only did it attract new players who weren't too familiar with the older games, but it also released on console, which we don't talk about. Well, it was a new game, so hopefully there weren't too many hackers, so I wonder how long it took for the first hacks to come out. 2 days. The first hacks for CSGO came out in 2 days. Right from the start, CSGO had a cheating problem. It was even so bad that Valve had to implement basically a second anti-cheat because VAC kinda sucks. In 2013, Valve introduced something called Overwatch into CSGO. If you don't know what that is, basically if someone got reported enough, someone could get their review of the demo and watch it and determine if they were hacking or not. If the player got enough votes to be hacking, they'd get game banned. Hackers were so prevalent in CSGO that you couldn't even escape them in professional matches. Infamous moments like Callie's jumping headshot during a pro tournament.
Bro, this is still so crazy to me. Cookly, by the way. I mentioned this earlier today on stream. Cookly one of his most recent replies, sold the Lambo to
Scene that I decided that I
to
wanted
his
to get
girlfriend. If you know, you know.
Nice.
If you know, you know.
Open
Adam
your eyes.
22, like
What?
the cuck story and everything. Quickly, ain't this your exotic car rental lot in LA? Yeah. Bro, and he retweeted it. Like he sold them the Lambo.
This?
Or like rented out, I don't know.
Oh my god.
The video may be fake, it may just be rented, but
And followed up
I
by
thought it
a
was funny.
backban a couple days later is a
cheetah giving the car to another cheetah. That's what it is.
good one to mention. Although the jumping headshot isn't exactly what got him banned, because another pro player named Flusha would do shots that were arguably way more sus than the jumping shot from Cali, but he was somehow never VAC banned. Another player named Emilio got VAC banned mid-game.
Did Emilio just get VAC banned? What?
And also in 2018, another professional player named Forsaken got caught hacking mid-tournament, and he tried to hide these hacks by naming them word.exe. So why are there so many hackers in CSGO? Well, not only is it super easy to cheat in CSGO, but it's also very easy to get away with it. Hell, there are even ways that cheaters have found out to get un-VAC banned, even receiving formal apologies from Valve employees themselves. Like I said, no matter what Valve really did, hackers would always find a way around it. The likely thing that happened with CSGO cheats is that most of the cheaters and hackers from CS 1.6 actually ended up moving to CSGO. So not only was there a massive player base for CSGO that included people wanting to cheat, but the source code of the game also got leaked, which basically means if you knew what you were doing, you could reverse engineer your hacks into pretty much anything. Most hackers you'll see in game though are usually trying to play it off using soft aim, wall hacks, movement hacks, or something of the like that isn't too obvious. But there's also a subset of cheaters called rage cheaters. This is when you'll see a player blatantly cheating by shooting through walls or spin botting. The community of these so-called rage cheaters branched off from these other toxic cheaters, and this is the thing I mentioned earlier called HVH or hacker versus hacker. These are the hackers that really just hack for fun and don't want to ruin the actual game for others. I asked some people that are involved in the community some questions about it, and the community for it goes really deep as well. I might even just make a dedicated video for it. There are probably upwards of around 100,000 active members in the HVH community, all trying to use the craziest cheats they can use to beat one another. There are some insane cheat clients out there as well. One such client is one called GameSense. Some people will pay up to $400 just to get access to this cheat. At one point it was considered the most safe cheat out there, but not so much anymore. There are some insane hacks for HVH out there, but some cool ones is a hack that would just crash a server you're playing on,
400.
and if the server crashed, then there's no Overwatch demo to review.
That
There's
makes sense as well. $400. It is people usually that cheat that have like maybe like I feel like too much money, and then they like want to find like fun somewhere, and then cheating like, oh yeah, I don't know. Like it's hard for me to explain right now, but you know what I mean?
also a server lagger, which would of course lag the entire server.
Like someone maybe with a lot of money, maybe like I don't want to like put any wrong assumptions, but like maybe social life a little bit less, and then zack, $400 cheats, pang, you know what I mean?
And eventually get everyone to cool down. Also, when I say cool hack, I don't mean like I condone it, it's just pretty interesting. Despite CSGO being so popular now, the HVH scene has somewhat died down. Most people don't really care about HVH anymore, and these servers are
Because they're like every time like you meet a cheater, they're always like super edgy, you know?
vacant. I'm sure there are still some tight-knit HVH communities out there, but as a whole, it's definitely not at its peak anymore.
Nice video.
With all we've learned about Counter-Strike hacking, what can we expect for Counter-Strike 2? Well, if you were listening to what I've been saying, there will always be hackers. CS2 will hopefully make it harder for hackers and cheaters to exist, but considering how easy it was for the other Counter-Strike games to get hacks, CS2 will be no different. There will also not be an Overwatch system like in CSGO, and it'll instead fully rely on the new VAC system, which will hopefully be better than the other versions. There's also a new thing called VAC Live, which will now end a match if someone is detected cheating, which of course is a much needed feature. Over the 24 years that Counter-Strike has existed, so have the cheaters. As for the psychology of all this, maybe they do it for fun, maybe they do it to
W video, leave him some love, now. Great guy, now. Subscribe, likes, everything. Time starts, vamos.